Okay. Hello, everybody. And today I lost count of the classes. I believe this is number 15, and we are on chapter 21. So this chapter is all about getting off the fence. What does getting off the fence mean? It basically means that we're in this state where should I stay or should I go? We've been in a marriage and we have these ideas of who our husband is. And we all have these thoughts in our head, you know, like I know I've had these thoughts, like, oh, if I would have married someone else, my life would have been so much different. So just having those thoughts, it's not about actually thinking that we want to leave. Even if we have the thoughts that have had I picked a different man, had I, it's kind of like sitting on the fence. It's not being all in. It's not being fully in my relationship. So this is the theme of today's class. And I feel like on some level we could all relate to this. So it basically talks about how being in this state of mind affects our energy, and our energy basically we radiate that into our family, and how it affects our husband, how it affects our intimacy. Because sometimes we're like, I'm just thinking this stuff, I'm not really acting on it, but we don't realize that our thoughts and the stories we believe, and the stories that we believe about our husband, and the stories that we tell ourselves, how much it really affects our relationship and our marriage. So you learn to speak by speaking, to study by studying, to run by running, and to work by working. In just the same way, you learn to love by loving. Sitting on the fence hurts your butt. Sometimes I'll have a student who doesn't hesitate to say that her husband seems deficient in so many ways that she can't see herself spending the rest of her life with him. She thinks about leaving often, yet she hasn't made a move. She's often on the fence about her marriage, leaning heavily toward a breakup. So this is one case scenario. Other times, a student will tell me that her relationship is fine and her husband is a great guy, but she's not satisfied, or she feels she's outgrown him. She thinks she should stay married, but she describes the relationship as unfulfilling and boring. She suspects there might be someone else out there who's better for her, someone who would make her happier than her husband does. This is a less overt but equally dangerous example of sitting on the fence. So basically not being fully in the relationship, thinking that, something could have been better, or someone could have been better. Sitting on the fence hurts your butt. You can't get comfortable there. So we have this uncomfortable feeling within us. We're like, a woman can't be happy if she's sitting on the fence thinking that I should have made a different choice. I could have done better. This is not what I want. That's true when you feel ambivalent about anything, a job, a car, a friend. Ambivalent is like this feeling of confusion, like a little bit here, a little bit there, not like secure about something, feeling insecure. But when you sit on the fence in a romance, you pay an especially high price for that uncomfortable seat, because you can't possibly be intimate with a guy you're only tolerating. You have a lot of power in the situation and the choice. Either accept him just as he is, quirks and all, or reject him and end the relationship. Just tolerating your husband is a surefire way to make both of you miserable. Then she gives an example of a woman who, you know, didn't want her husband to smoke, and she caught him smoking. So then she's had all this evidence that her husband was untrustworthy. Hannah spent her days waiting and watching for him to betray her again, and thought their marriage seemed fine on the outside. She found herself fantasizing about having a man she could really trust and be fully emotionally intimate with. How many times have we felt that way? That um how many times have we felt that? You guys are distracting me. How many times, Julie?
I love you.
Love you too. How many times have you guys felt this way when we we have this story in our head where, I can't really trust him, and we try fantasizing or comparing him to these other husbands who are so much better. And so, if I only had a man who I can trust, and only if I had a man who, shared his emotions and all of the, by the way, no men do that because they're men. If we want someone to share their emotions, call your girlfriend. See, this is self-care for me, watching Julie be silly. Anyway, so this is when the problems start happening, because inside we're not really accepting him. So subconsciously he feels it all. It's not only about how we show up physically, it's all about how we feel inside and what stories we believe about him. So she starts fantasizing about having a man she could really trust and be fully emotionally intimate with. After all, this one had lied in a big way, and since she was sure she had done nothing wrong, she felt justified in thinking that perhaps he just wasn't a guy she could stay forever with. She was clearly planted on the fence. But that kind of fence sitting does plenty of harm to the person you're tolerating. Whether you said it or not, your husband knows when you're on the fence, which means he knows you're thinking of leaving him. So when we have those beliefs and those thoughts, we're kind of like, halfway out the door, like we're not really fully in. And he feels it. He may not admit it, but he's terrified, just like you'd be terrified if someone you loved built your life around, and you built your life around, was letting you know in subtle ways that he might just go away for good. And when people are scared, they get defensive. And then we're like, why is my husband defensive? Why is every time I tell him something, he just brushes me off? And he can't make you happy when he feels defensive. And if I'm feeling as the story in my mind where I'm comparing him to another man, and I'm thinking that if only he was like this, and should I stay, should I go, he's feeling all of these energies on a subconscious level, and he's feeling defensive. So he can't be in the energy of making me happy because he's too busy defending himself. When they're defensive, they're much harder to connect with because they're feeling an overwhelming urge to either fight or flee. They're in survival mode. So it's like when you see a big tiger in the room, they don't feel that sense of safety. So for them, it's like there's this big tiger in the room. So they can't be calm and focus on making you happy. They're in survival mode. They're either fight or flight. So that's when their personality is just like, where's that guy that I dated where he was calm and emotionally safe? Because we create that emotional safety for them. And if we want them to be calm and connected to us, it's up to us to create that emotional safety. And how do we do that? By choosing, do I want to stay in this relationship? Am I fully in or am I out? The power to restore the safety in your relationship lies with you. Without safety, there can be no emotional honesty and no vulnerability. Two key ingredients for feeling connected and close. So, if any of you have been saying that I'm practicing the skills, I'm doing everything that I am, like what's going on? Why am I not getting the results that I want? This Laura is basically bringing this to the surface just to give us a heads up that is this where what's going on in your mind, like what are the stories that you're believing in your mind? Are you fully in this marriage? And this could be a culprit in creating that environment of unsafety in your relationship, and that's why you're getting a defensive husband. I'm not excusing him for having said or done hurtful things, for lobbing some agendas in the past, some grenades in the past, but that kind of damage is repairable. Your relationship can heal from that, and you can minimize further damage, but not while you're flirting with the idea of pushing the big red button that launches the warhead called divorce. The person who is willing to walk away from a negotiation always has the most power. Since that's you in this case, the responsibility for restoring the safety of the marriage lies within you. So she's basically giving this explanation, should I stay or should I go? If we're like in this, if any of us are in this space, we have many women from different walks of life, different relationship statuses. We're all going through our own journey. So if there's anyone here who's kind of in the space of should I stay or should I go, the only question you really need to ask yourself is, am I leaving today? And if I'm here today I'm going to show up, and today I'm going to use the intimacy skills, and today I'm going to clean my side of the street, and today I'm going to do the best that I can. The only way that you'll know whether you can save your marriage is if you experiment with these skills and you see whether it's getting you to where you want to be, where you want to be connected, you want to be loved, you want to be appreciated. The only way to get to that space is to do everything in your power. And what's in your power is to align to your neshama, to align to who you really are. You're doing this work for you. Even if for whatever reason the marriage doesn't work out, you're doing this work for you. This not only improves these skills not only improves your relationship with your husband, these skills improve your relationship with every single person around you, with your coworkers, with your bosses, with your in-laws, with your friends, with your parents. These skills are skills for life. Yes, we're practicing them with our husband because obviously that's like the closest relationship that we have. But these skills are they go beyond our marriage. Like that's the gift of it. And I know that when I was going through a challenging situation with my husband, when we were thinking like, should we stay or should we go? I told him that I I'm not ready to let go of our marriage until we literally tried everything in our power to do everything we can to save our marriage. And yes, we went to counseling, and yes, we went to therapy, and you know, you name it. I felt like as a woman, I cannot let go of this marriage until I turned over every stone that there is to try to do everything in my power to save it. And if then it's still, I felt like then I would if it was to the decision was to leave, I would leave with a pure heart because I would not have any regrets. And this is the book that kind of gets us to this place where I'm saying that I did everything in my power. I cleaned my side of the street. And guess what? If it's meant to be for him to leave, it's gonna happen peacefully. It's gonna happen without there's not going to be any of those things that happens where people argue over money and kids and whatever. When your side of the street is clean, even if, God forbid, that's the last thing is for the marriage to end. It Even if it has to end, it ends in a peaceful way. So these skills are skills for life. They're skills for, God forbid, I don't wish that for anybody, but I feel like as women, we have so much power, and we do have the ability to make the choices, to do everything in our power so that we can get the intimacy and the connection that we want. We really, really have this power. And I'm speaking from my own experience. I'm literally like being very vulnerable and bearing my heart right now. Um, so if that day you wake up and you choose that today I'm staying in this marriage, so today I can practice the skills and I can choose to clean my side of the street. To help you feel empowered as a wife, and one that shows you how to attract your husband's time, attention, and affection. Complaining about someone is a symptom that you're tolerating, not accepting or rejecting him. If you decide to abstain from tolerating your husband, the only choices left are to accept him or reject him. Rejecting him means you leave. So if you're not leaving him today, you can stop wasting your energy complaining and tolerating by practicing the 6 intimacy skills. This doesn't take away your option to leave in the future if you decide that's what's best for you. Just making the decision to accept him, however, is going to make you feel more dignified, calm, and secure. So whatever we're doing it for us. We're doing it to stand in our own power. So we're making the choice to either accept him or like get off the fence. Like sitting on the fence hurts your butt. So are you going to accept him or reject him? So if today you're going to accept him, how do we accept him? By practicing the 6 intimacy skills. And we practice the 6 intimacy skills for us. so that we can stand in our integrity. And it helps us feel calm, and it helps us feel secure. And when we feel that, we radiate that out. And when we radiate that out, it helps him, put down his guards and put down his defenses, and open up and feel safe enough. We create a sense of safety so that he can come in and make us happy. That's what she says. And you might just end up becoming a ridiculously happy wife and no longer wanting to leave. If you decided you're going to invest yourself emotionally in this relationship again, your connection will improve almost immediately as long as you go all in. In a marriage, going all in means that you open your heart by being vulnerable, risking everything. You're choosing faith instead of indulging your fear. It means that when you find yourself getting annoyed with your husband's faults, you push yourself to make a list of his virtues. So you remember why you chose him and why you continue to choose him. So I think this is a good tool that, first of all, when you find yourself getting annoyed with your husband's faults and quirks and all of these different things, step number one, how's my self-care? Did I do 3 things that make me happy? Did I do 3 things that make me feel good? Step number 2, what is my desire? Under every complaint, a complaint is a lazy desire. So if I'm having a complaint, what is my desire underneath my complaint? What do I want? And fulfill your desires, or even just write them down, express them. So a lot of times when we suppress our desires, we don't know what we want. We're just stuck complaining, and that drags us down. And another tool that Laura is offering here is write a list of what you like about him. It's kind of like switching our brain from complaining to gratitude. Like, what do I like? What are his virtues? What are good points about him? Why did I choose to marry this man? So just shifting, we can't be angry and grateful at the same time. We can't be anxious and grateful at the same time. So when we choose to go into gratitude, we get our mind from the space of complaining and being in fear mode into faith mode, into gratitude mode. And it lifts us up, and it helps us feel so much better. And I think this is a really, really great tool. That's because everyone can relax when there's no immediate crisis or drama. No fear-based adrenaline shooting through the house. There's no tension, no waiting for the other shoe to drop. Your butt stops hurting. So when we choose to get off the fence, and when we choose to accept him, when we choose to see the good points in him, we create a sense of safety. He feels it. He feels it when I accept him, and he feels it when I'm comparing him to another man. Because sometimes I might even say, why can't you be like so and so? That's like we wouldn't like to hear that from our husband. Why can't you be like so and so's wife? She does that. Like, as much as we don't like that, even if we don't say it, just when we think it, it really, really affects them on a very, very deep level. So our thoughts really, really, and the stories that we believe and we tell ourselves affect our marriage on such a deep level. So when we're able to create that spouse fulfilling prophecy, so for example, if he's in the space of, responding in an angry way, or he didn't do something that I asked him to do, I literally used to have this, if my husband would be upset and he would be, speaking to my kids in a way that I didn't like, I would literally have this song in my head. My husband is loving and full of praise. My husband is loving and full of praise. And then within half an hour, his energy would shift. So whatever story I believe, I create my reality. We're that powerful. And when we believe that we are powerful and we can create that reality, and we just shift the story in our head, we create a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what do I want? So first of all, knowing what I want, and then believing that story and telling myself the story that I want instead of what I don't want. That's how it's manifesting, but it's creating our reality. And creating that sense of safety will it just makes it so much easier to create that reality. it makes it easier for him, because then he's in a place where he doesn't have to feel like has to be defending himself.
Wait.
You have a question, Regina? Okay, so here she's saying nobody's saying you have to. You always have a choice and you always get to do what fits you. But if what you want is to be intimate, choose the vulnerable approach. If what you want is more splinters in your butt, stay on the fence. I understand your hesitation because I've been there, but recognize that you're making the choice and you can change your mind at any time. Now that you realize how much power you have, put what you learned to the test. Prove me right or prove me wrong, but give your relationship the best chance to succeed before you give up. Jump off the fence right now and put all your energy and faith into making your marriage the most passionate, intimate, and nurturing it can be, instead of spending the energy worrying about whether you should leave. When I say succeed, I don't mean that you're giving it the chance to become just a little better. I'm talking about creating an exciting, gratifying, pleasurable romance. I'm talking about having fun together, looking forward to seeing each other, delighting in each other, and feeling really protected and secured. So this could be a self-fulfilling prophecy that you could just write down for yourself. You know, I have fun with my husband. I look forward to seeing my husband. I delight in being in my husband's presence. I feel really protected and secure in my husband's presence. So just write it down and just keep telling yourself that story, and it will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. And whenever there's bait, just notice it's, the Yetzer Hara is coming in here and he's trying to steal my joy, and I'm not going to let that happen. I'm going to keep believing the story that, my husband is joyful and full of praise, that my husband it's safe and secure for me to be around my husband. My husband is protecting me, and I have fun with my husband. I look forward to being with my husband. Maybe you've given up hope that you can have that, but I'm here to tell you that you can, just as soon as you jump off the fence. Your butt will thank you. All right. This is where we're going to, I know it's a short chapter. This is where we're going to pause tonight. And yeah, any insights, any comments, questions? Hey.
Hey, Irina.
Hey.
I wanted to ask you a question. What if you had mentioned in the beginning that the example was the lady had said something about her husband smoking, right? What if it's something that like choices being that are like harmful?
Right, but you have to,
Like smoking.
so the way that we learned in the beginning of the book, that he's a grown man and like we're not his mother, we're his wife. And we have to trust, the more we try to control him and his choices, the more he's going to make those wrong choices, because nobody likes to be controlled. So if we trust him, I'll tell you, I used to always tell my husband, you can't eat this and you can't eat that and you can't, because I'm justifying it by saying, I just want my husband to be healthy. Like I'm,
Right.
I care about his health. But as soon as I stopped doing that, he started making much better choices, because he just didn't like to be controlled.
Just leave it alone. Like, don't say anything.
It's on his paper. It's on his paper. Just focus on your paper.
Okay.
Just it's like sometimes like I still have it's like an impulse, pause. Like I catch myself, I pause, and I'm like, that's his paper. And it's hard for me. Sometimes I literally have to walk out of the room. It's very hard.
I often say that when we have a better relationship and there's trust and respect and like you live in love, like you live in Gan Eden, you can eventually start saying little things. It won't be like, oh my gosh, she's disrespecting me.
There's
He
like an
won't
80-20 rule, right?
Right. He won't be like in a defensive mode anymore.
Right.
It's not like right now, there are some things I'll tell my husband, you know, but he's not on defensive mode anymore. He's not always looking to protect his cupboard. So it's a different stage.
Right.
He takes it as caring and not as like you like an enemy trying
But-
to attack him.
Right, but in the beginning, at this stage where we are right now, I would
Right,
say
well,
so
I'm in a
it's
different
still-
stage. I'm saying it from a
inevitably
different
it's still
stage.
gonna happen, right? It's still gonna happen. So like at this stage, we just want to have awareness, want to pause.
Right.
So you're in the advanced stage, Shoshana.
Right, so I
We're
said
still
when you're in
beginners.
Gan Eden, I specifically said
I
when you're
know.
in Gan Eden and you're on a different
Yeah, you are.
stage,
You
when
are.
things are great and there's respect
Right.
and there's everything in a marriage, then when you say things, when you suggest things, you won't be like, oh my gosh,
Right.
I have to.
Right, but first we have to
Defense,
establish that feeling of
We're already
safety
at the
and
end of the
security.
book. We should have been already almost in Gan Eden.
We are,
Girl,
we are in
are
our
you
own way, but
almost-
you know,
Are
even
you almost?
even though we're at the end of the book, it takes time and it takes practice. Just like
Of course.
for some people it takes a year, for some people it takes 3 years, for some people it takes 5 years, but it's just practice. It's doing something new. It's always, you know, it always takes time to kind of integrate it into like a different way of behaving and showing up in life. It's literally like becoming a different person.
Right, but the faster you do it, the faster you will live better.
100%. I mean, we all know it on a conscious level, you know, but in reality, it's not so easy. And it's also very important to give ourselves that grace and to give ourselves that compassion when we don't show up in the right way, because we're much more likely to get back into it when we're nice and compassionate with ourselves rather than when we judge ourselves and we are mean to ourselves. You know, like there's much more growth, like with plants even, right? When you talk to a plant in a nice and kind way, it grows. When you talk to a plant in a mean way and you judge it and you curse it, it dies. So like when we are compassionate to ourselves, we grow from that. So it's very important to stop, pause.
She's not listening.
Wherever she is, it's a party. It's okay, she listens to the recording.
Listen.
What happened?
We were enjoying you having fun.
Irina, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Marianne. Sorry, I had to log off my phone. So I got this the workbook, this Empowered
Wait,
Life.
honey, I can't hear you.
Oh, 1 second. I got the Empowered Wife workbook and journal.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the best way to utilize it? How, like, do I need to reread the book and do it side by side, or?
You don't have to read. She's open up to the first page. She just tells you to write down different things of self-care. Just it's like a journal. Just follow it. You could do 1 page a day. You could do 2, like whatever you feel like.
My self-care list.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not rereading the book. This is kind of
No. It has all the main points of the book also in it. This is just all the tools and all the practice. Your munchkin is behind you.
I'm so excited. Oh, hi. Yeah, her kids are still not sleeping. Anyways, Irina, thank you so much.
No
Always a
problem.
pleasure. I love these weekly check-ins.
Oh, I love it. Thank you so
I
much
look
for
forward.
being here.
I
Yeah.
really look forward to these classes.
That's awesome.
Agreed.
You guys are so sweet. So any more questions, comments, insights? Okay, I guess this is where we wrap up. Thank you. I was a little nervous about this chapter because I was like, it's a really vulnerable one. It's a really it's really getting to the root, you know, because we don't like to talk about uncomfortable things, but we have to. We, you know, if we don't go into the darkness, we can't turn on the light. We have to be willing to walk into the dark room in order to turn on the light switch, right? So I hope this brings awareness and comfort and gives tools to anybody who is just in a place that feels dark. So I hope that this adds light to
Thank
your
you,
life.
Irina.
All right, guys. Thank you. Good night.
Have a good night.